Hey guys, Sleepless Authors here, and I'm going to talk about what it's like to take a creative writing class. If you've never taken a formal creative writing class before, I highly recommend it. It's incredibly helpful to learn a little bit more about the craft from a professional, but it's also really great for getting feedback on your writing. Some of the biggest lessons that I've learned have indeed been in formal creative writing classes. Workshop feedback is the absolute best. If you take a creative writing class that has a workshop component, you will learn so much. You're getting custom feedback from a lot of different people, people with completely different backgrounds from yours, looking at your writing, and you get so many different perspectives on what can be improved, what's really good. A funny thing for me that I learned through workshops is that I'm good at pacing, but I'm not good at describing the setting. So it's something that I only learned through workshops. I had no idea I had this weakness until people told me that, and I'm able to grow on it now and work on that. I also feel like another really cool benefit of creative writing workshops and creative writing classes is that in a weird way, it kind of prepares you to work as a professional writer or editor. If that's something that you want to do long term, it's really helpful because the workshop kind of trains you to look at your work a little more critically and have other people looking at your work. It sounds a little scary. Feedback can be really scary, especially like critiques. But generally in classes, people know to be kind. They know to be honest, but to deliver in a way that is polite and matter of fact. And that is what's really good prep for the workplace because even if you're not working as a writer or editor, if you're doing any kind of creation, whether it's spreadsheets or anything, you're going to need to have discussions like that as a professional in your workplace. I'd say another really fun benefit of creative writing classes is getting to meet other writers. Like, writing is typically a solitary activity. You don't get out that much. It's just you and your computer and you're typing away. And yeah, it's kind of hard to meet other writers sometimes. So if you're doing like an in-person creative writing class, whether it is through a college, a community center, part of your degree, whatever it is, it's a really fun way to meet other writers because it's kind of hard otherwise. Like, you might go to readings and stuff, but it's kind of hard to just strike up a conversation with a stranger if you go to a reading. Whereas, in a class setting, it gives you a lot more gateways to talk to people and open up, especially if you're the introverted sort, like me. One of the biggest strengths of creative writing classes is learning from a professional. Most of the time, people who teach classes either have an advanced degree in creative writing or they have a crap ton of successful publications. So usually you can learn quite a lot. You can learn about the industry, you can learn about any sorts of different things, and it's coming from someone who you can trust and who you know is going to have good, valuable feedback for you because they've done it, they've lived it. One thing I will say though is that if you take a creative writing class, you really need to give it your all. If you just find old works in progress and kind of just like submit it right before the deadline so you have something to submit, you're not going to get the same benefits out of it if you try and write something that really is important to you. Another thing you can do to make it really valuable is to take something that you've been working on, like if the teacher allows it, or the professor allows it, take a sample of a chapter from a book that you're working on. What I will usually do is take like the first chapter of a novel and try to get feedback on that, or like some kind of early chapter somewhat early in the book. That way it's not too confusing for people who aren't familiar with the story, but it's incredibly valuable because ultimately it's a book. I want to publish it someday. And when it comes to something big like a novel, you need as much feedback as humanly possible. So, like in anything else, what you get out of a creative writing class is going to be really dependent on what you put into it. Another great benefit of creative writing classes is that they're going to push you out of your comfort zone. And if you only write like your favorite sci-fi and fantasy type stories, but you never write a mystery or you never try literary fiction, then a creative writing class is going to push you to do that. It's a really good experience because even if you have like your favorite things to write, it's good to learn more and it's good to experiment with different things. It creates fun variety for you as a writer, and it's good practice just to broaden your horizons a bit. Another very great thing about taking creative writing classes is that it does give you a deadline. So if you're the type who really struggles to focus on your writing, or if you're a procrastinator, or if you just can't always muster up the motivation to write, a creative writing class will help you forge discipline. When you have a strict deadline and when you want to get something good out of taking a class, it's going to push you to write and to submit and to get things done. So ultimately for me, creative writing classes are a huge learning experience for me. Every time I take one, even if I've taken like so many different literature and writing courses in the past, I always feel like I get something new out of each one I take and out of each group of writers I meet. So I highly recommend it. If you haven't taken a creative writing class and it's something you want to develop, you should do it. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!